Douglas County board members say a decision by the state to change property values across Omaha is outrageous. Good evening, I'm Melissa Fry.
And I'm Jeremy Maskell. We first told you about the order last week. The Tax Equalization and Review Commission, appointed by Governor Pete Ricketts, voted to increase property tax valuations in West Omaha by 7% and decrease property valuations in North Omaha by 8%. Now the county says it will appeal that order. KETV News Watch 7's Alexandra Stone is live.
Jeremy, Melissa, this piece of North Omaha was just one example that came up during today's meeting. It's a piece of the city that's seen growth and new homes. It's visible right behind me, but it would be hit with an 8% property valuation decrease across the board.
Opposition from all sides on an order that would change property valuations across Omaha.
This just does not make any sense.
In the northeast part of the city, where property valuations would decrease despite development, City Councilman Ben Gray says the change would be damaging to homeowners and to further growth in North Omaha.
I have serious concerns about what is going on in North Omaha. I've heard a number of people say to me, why don't we just call it redlining? Why don't we just call it what it is?
And representatives from Omaha's west side, where property valuations would go up 7%, frustrated, now facing higher property taxes.
Percentage increases are by their very nature an extremely blunt instrument.
And I would characterize this increase as unwarranted, unfair, arbitrary and capricious, unexpected, and unreasonable.
Doug Kagan with Nebraska Taxpayers for Freedom calling out the Tax Equalization and Review Commission, who called for the changes.
Governors appoint members who not elected are not directly accountable to taxpayers.
Ultimately, the county board voting to ask for reconsideration from the state and, if need be, take it all the way to the Supreme Court of Nebraska.
This decision needs to be revisited and revised.
Now, just this afternoon, we spoke with a homeowner right on this street. Edwina Shepard has lived here and owned her home for more than 40 years. She raised her children here and chooses to make this neighborhood her home, even recently making improvements to her own house.
I was hoping I'd get a return at some point on my property if I wanted to sell, or leave. I'm 71 years old. So to me, this just seems so unfair. And sometimes I do think living in Northeast Omaha, you just can't get a break.
Reporting live in North Omaha, Alexandra Stone, KETV News Watch 7.
Alexandra, thank you. A man goes to the hospital in serious condition after crashing his motorcycle into an SUV. Happened near 120th and Center just after 8:30 this morning. Authorities say the motorcyclist actually drove another 12 blocks to 132nd before calling for help. Police tell us he was driving southbound when he hit a black Cadillac turning west. Around the same time, another crash, this one in Council Bluffs. A car hit 65-year-old Clifford Guild as he was trying to cross 38th and G Streets. Medics took Guild to the hospital in critical condition. Authorities say the driver was not at fault. No charges have been filed.
In Sarpy County, a man is in the hospital after shooting himself in the leg with a shotgun. Deputies say 40-year-old Sean Capps was installing a homemade stock on his 12 gauge when it accidentally went off. Capps went to Nebraska Medicine and had surgery. Deputies say they also found meth and other ammunition which may belong to him. Once the investigation is completed, law enforcement says felony charges are possible. Well, this week, the White House announced Malia Obama will attend Harvard University after taking a gap year. Gap years are common in Europe and a growing trend in the United States. But are they good for students? KETV News Watch 7's Nicole Goodrich has been looking into it, and she joins us live. Nicole?
Here at UNO, gap years aren't exactly common, but they're not unheard of either. And counselors at the high school and college level say taking a gap year can be beneficial to the right kind of student if it's done in the right way.
It was hands down one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life.
If you want a gap year advocate, Alyssa Walcott is exactly who you're looking for.
We lived together, ate together. I had roommates, and they had different tracks of study.
The UNO art student spent a year at a gap year program in Norway. Her experience is common for students in Europe, but it hasn't quite caught on in Nebraska. At Creighton Prep, counselor Father Robert Tillman can only remember a handful of students who've made a similar decision.
The exceptional student that just doesn't want to follow a normal course of graduating from high school and then going on to college.
Tillman and Katie Wessel, who works in course and career advising at UNO, both say gap years can be good, but they're not for everybody.
For some students, they can be disciplined and focused in taking a gap year. And for some students, they know if I don't go straight into school now, I'm not likely to continue.
If you're not studying math, you're busy forgetting it.
But if your student wants to take a gap year, it's worth a conversation.
Students can really grow tremendously, with a gap year, depending upon what they choose to do.
The counselors say students need to have a goal and a plan, whether they want to volunteer, travel, enroll in a program, or even work. It needs to help them develop their career or life goals. And they need a plan to pay for it.
I would say too, like if you really want it, you're going to figure it out.
The experts here at UNO say it's actually more common for students to take a gap year after they finish their undergrad, but before they enter the workforce or go to graduate school. And programs like the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps are popular with that crowd. Reporting live, Nicole Goodrich, KETV News Watch 7.
Interesting look. Nicole, thank you. More news. A fight to stop an oil pipeline permit runs through Omaha. Protesters completed a 500-mile run from Cannonball, North Dakota to the metro, ending at the Zorinsky Federal Building in downtown Omaha. They delivered a petition to the Army Corps of Engineers. Native American tribal leaders joined other landowners who do not want to see the Bakken pipeline built.
Let's stop this pipeline. We do not need it. It's not benefiting us, and it's not benefiting Uchimakah, Mother Earth.
Dakota Access LLC is the company building the pipeline. Construction is supposed to start in June. Estimates show it will be 1,200 miles long, extending from North Dakota through Iowa and onto Illinois.
We go to the Crime Watch at 5 with a 27-year-old dance instructor in jail, accused of sexually assaulting 2 teenage girls. According to court records, a 14-year-old girl told police that 27-year-old Vincent Jenkins assaulted her in the basement of his Crete home on April 25th. Another 14-year-old said Jenkins had been assaulting her from August to December of last year at the dance studio that he co-owns with his wife.
I am hopeful that we don't have additional victims out there, but certainly if we do, we sure want to hear about it.
A woman who answered the door to Jenkins' home would not identify herself, but told us, quote, "The accusations are totally false," end quote. Jenkins also worked at the Crete Middle School as a paraeducator. The school superintendent says Jenkins is no longer an employee in the district. He added that the school runs extensive background checks on all staff and volunteers, and so far there are no reports of any improper activities that occurred on school grounds.
Lincoln police say a man found unresponsive in a pool this morning has died. A lifeguard and another swimmer pulled the man from the water at the YMCA near 14th and Mockingbird in Lincoln. The man died in an area hospital. Police do not yet have the exact cause of death and say they will have an autopsy performed. The University of Nebraska is out almost $200,000 selling a home originally meant for the system president at a loss. School leaders bought the house in 2012 with private money. It was supposed to be home for then President J.B. Milliken. He never moved in before leaving to take a job in New York. The University Foundation then spent almost $900,000 on a new home for current President Hank Bounds.
Well, hopefully you got a chance to go outside today. It was just absolutely beautiful. Felt like a top 10 day, but you know what? I can't make that call. Only one man who can make that call, and that's Chief Meteorologist Bill Ramby, who has the upfront forecast. Bill?
Melissa, I would say through 2 o'clock, it had all the makings one of the top 10 days of the year, but late this afternoon, we've seen the breeze pick up a little bit, have had a few clouds. Take a live look with our Skycam here from 7 Burlington Station. That's 10th Street. Few clouds out there. The breeze is blowing from the west, and the temperature is at 71 degrees. So I gave it a Ranby factor of 9 today, and I think that's fair. It's certainly been a spectacular day. And there are the clouds on our radar and satellite pictures that have encompassed parts of eastern Nebraska and most of western Iowa here late this afternoon. 71 and 42, the extremes not far from average. A very, very comfortable afternoon, no question about it. Nice this evening. Pleasant tonight. Tomorrow looks good. Sunny skies. It's going to be a little bit breezy tomorrow. Winds out of the north and northwest at about 10 to 20 miles an hour. So a little breezier than we saw even today. This evening, really good. 63 degrees around 9 o'clock. Melissa, Jeremy?
Bill, thanks. The race for president takes a nasty turn in Indiana, where voters are heading to the polls.
Today is considered to be Ted Cruz's last chance to stop Donald Trump's march to the nomination. And as KETV News Watch 7 Sally Kidd reports, Cruz attacked Trump like never before.
Ted Cruz launched a blistering critique of Donald Trump, and Trump hit back.
Donald is a bully.
His White House hopes on the line.
A braggadocious, arrogant buffoon.
Ted Cruz unleashed his strongest attack yet on the GOP frontrunner.
This man is a pathological liar, utterly amoral. A serial philanderer, describes his battles with venereal disease as his own personal Vietnam.
Donald Trump released a statement calling Cruz desperate to save his failing campaign, saying he's become more unhinged, unable to deal with the stress of losing 6 primaries in a row.
I think he's crazy.
Trump blasted Cruz at a rally last night.
Lion Ted does not have the temperament to be doing this. He is choking like a dog because he's losing so badly.
On the Democrat side, Indiana polls give Hillary Clinton the edge over Bernie Sanders. But Sanders is hoping to pull off an upset. He railed against corporate greed during a stop in Indianapolis.
They can make more money moving to Mexico, paying people their $3 an hour. It is not acceptable.
Clinton is looking beyond Indiana, wrapping up a tour of Appalachia with a stop in Ohio.
We need to invest in coal communities. We need to figure out how to bring new jobs and industries to them.
Clinton now has 90% of the delegates she needs to win the nomination. In Washington, Sally Kidd, KETV News Watch 7.
Well, one candidate's making a stop in the Cornhusker State. Ted Cruz will be in Lincoln campaigning tomorrow. If you want to see him, he'll be at the Embassy Suites Hotel in downtown. The event starts at noon.
Military officials say a Navy SEAL died during an ISIS attack in Iraq today. It happened outside the ISIS-held city of Mosul. This marks the 3rd U.S. service member's death in Iraq since the fight against ISIS began in the summer of 2014. Defense Secretary Ash Carter called it a combat death.
Well, there's a new approach tonight to battling the Zika virus. One town is using fish to eat away at the problem.
Next at 5, how the fish could help stop 2 illnesses from spreading.
Plus, thinking of ditching the chair at your desk? Health Watch asks if it really can help slim your waistline.
First, though, here's a live view of Omaha's rush hour, courtesy of the Nebraska Department of Roads camera looking east on the West Dodge Expressway at 118th Street.
You're watching Omaha's news leader, KETV News Watch 7 with Jeremy Maskell, Melissa Fry, and your Weather Now forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Randby. Live from 7 Burlington Station. This is KETV News Watch 7 at 5.
This just in. Take a look at this video of a water main break sent to us by Caitlin Strawn this afternoon. This is at 182nd Street, north of Beadle Middle School in Miller. Strawn said it happened around 3:20. MUD crews shut off the water and are currently repairing the break.
Well, as concern grows over the Zika virus, one Texas city is trying to use tiny fish to fight the threat. Health officials there are releasing gambusia, or mosquito fish, into the city waterways. The tiny fish feed on mosquito larvae, which helps to diminish the threat of Zika and West Nile viruses.
This actually will get rid of thousands of larvae at one time, so it's just a very nice natural way to do that.
Homeowners can even put the mosquito fish into water features in their yards. Experts say the fish are able to cohabitate with koi and other goldfish with no problems.
Now to more on the Health Watch, there's a new report on standing versus sitting at your desk. If you are counting on the standing approach to lose weight, you may be disappointed.
This showed that, in fact, they built muscle mass over that period of time. They didn't lose weight, but they did build more muscle and lost a little fat. So those are good things for our long-term health.
The Cleveland Clinic reports a study of 300 office workers encouraged to stand more often as you heard there, found small increases in muscle mass and small reductions in fat. All good things, but doctors say the only real fat burner at work is walking. You should spend a couple of minutes every hour taking a brisk walk. The goal of 10,000 steps in all per day.
Accurate, trusted,